Welcome to Essential EGL+Batch. This video series is based upon EGL Development Tools version 0.8. This is lesson 18. Now we've already created a package in our EGL program project called lab.lesson18. So you should create a package. And in that package we're going to create a source file called custom property info. And in the custom property info we're going to create a record for custom properties. There will be two fields, name and value. And that's all there is for custom property info. We'll be using that record to get custom properties. Now we need to create a library called custom property lib. And this library will enable us to work with custom properties. Now, what is a custom property? In Java, we went over system properties, and custom properties are very much like system properties, that you get them from Java in the same exact way. But custom properties are properties that you can set at the command line, and you can give them names, whatever name you like. But you should not ever name a custom property the same as a Java system property, because they're in actually the same scope. Now in custom property lib we'll create a function called demo which calls show custom properties. And we'll set up the usual decoration, I guess you would call it. And we're using the batch lib from lesson 16. Now, we start out with a list of our custom property names. These will be the keys that we use to get our custom properties out of the Java system properties. And then we'll get our list, which is an array of custom property info, from a function called getCustomProperties. And the idea here is to be able to reuse this getCustomProperties function in different projects, because it's generic enough that given a list of property names, it will get those properties out of the Java system properties. It returns an array of custom property info. So those are name-value pairs. Then we iterate in the show custom properties function. We'll iterate through each item in the list and write that out to the console. First the name, and then the value. Now inside of getCustomProperties, we're going to use the convention of defining a variable called result, and it's going to be an array of custom property info. And then we're going to iterate through each key in the list of keys, or each property name in the list of property names. And in this lesson is something that we didn't do, we probably should have done in the last lesson, but in this lesson it is possible for our custom properties not to exist. So we're going to put the functionality here inside of a try and on exception block. We're going to create an item for this particular name value pair and put the item in the result. And we're using the same API, which is the syslib.get property that we used in lesson 17. Now if the property doesn't exist, an exception will be thrown. So what we're going to do is print out a warning that a particular property is missing. And that takes care of our custom property library. And we'll create a program. The program name is going to be lesson 18. Now in our program we're going to do the usual decoration as we explained in lesson 16. And the main thing that's going on here is that the main function is going to call custom property lib.demo. Because we catch, or because we have the try on exception block in our library, we should not have any exceptions come back to our main function. We'll take it for a test drive, and you'll notice that, hey, all the custom properties are missing. Well, that's a good thing in a sense that we didn't overlap with any of the existing system properties. Now I'm going to go into the generated Java folder and right-click on lesson18.java and run as Java application. Now that's going to run lesson 18 program at full speed, and we get exactly the same results. But it does create a run configuration. So let's right-click on lesson18.java and go into Run Configurations and see that there are a lot of different pieces, a lot of bits of information and configuration to have running a program at the command line from within the IDE. Now under VM arguments, we can actually put in the names of our custom properties. The syntax is -d, without any space, the name of our custom property equals, and then a value. And there is no space in that entire command line option. And each one of those is exactly the same. So now our program, when we run it, is picking up the custom properties that we're defining on the command line. Now, we want to export this to a runnable jar file. And we've exported to a runnable jar file before, but it requires a launch configuration. And if it exists, we click OK. That'll create a jar for us. And then we can use that jar in a Java runtime environment to run our program. Then we don't need the IDE. Now I'll switch to the Remote Systems Explorer perspective and launch a terminal. And this works on both Linux and Windows and Mac OS X. And the syntax is java-jar and the name of our jar, which is EGL_program.jar. And as we can see on the command line, we haven't defined any custom properties, so the program doesn't pick up any. So let's define one custom property. Now, the option actually comes before the -jar. So then we have one custom property that matches, which is name1. We can do that again. And now we have two defined. And last, we'll put in our third custom property, and we'll have all three defined. This is essentially EGL Batch. Thanks for watching.